Hello, my name is Emma Kirkland. I am a technologist at CAFRE's Greenmount campus. In this video, I will be outlining the importance of preparing a fertilisation plan and how to create a fertilisation plan using the online CAFRE Crop Nutrient Calculator available on the DARE website. A fertilisation plan is a cross-compliance requirement under the Nutrients Action Programme 2019 to 2022 for farms applying chemical phosphate fertiliser to grassland or high phosphorus manures or anaerobic digestate to any land. The plan is a document which details your proposed organic manure and chemical fertiliser applications for the coming calendar year. The proposed nutrient applications are based on crop nutrient recommendations for the crops you intend on growing, according to your soil nutrient status or index. The presentation that follows details the steps farmers should take to prepare a fertilisation plan for their farm. For farms operating under a derogation from the Nutrients Action Programme, a different plan is required, so please refer to the derogation guidance for further details. Preparing a fertilisation plan in advance of any nutrient application encourages the most efficient and effective use of organic manures. It will help you to avoid applying manures where they are not needed, targeting application to areas of the farm with low soil phosphate and potassium indexes identified through recent soil analysis. This should eliminate the application of excess chemical fertiliser nutrients to crops where nutrient requirements can be supplied from organic manures. This ultimately reduces the cost to the business and improves the nutrient use efficiency while minimising nutrient runoff. A fertilisation plan must be prepared for each calendar year and kept up to date during the course of the year. This plan does not have to be submitted to the Northern Ireland Environment Agency, however it must be available for inspection on farm. If there are any changes to the planned application of manures or chemical fertiliser during the year, the plan should be revised. A fertilisation plan should be completed prior to the application of fertiliser. This is to ensure that the nutrients, in particular phosphorus, are not oversupplied. A soil analysis should be carried out to determine the current nutrient status of the soil and is a starting point for your fertilisation plan. The CAFRE Crop Nutrient Calculator is an essential tool when creating a fertilisation plan. A fertilisation plan for non-derogated farms must include the following: size of each land area under the same cropping regime, soil type and soil P index. For example, silage ground with similar soil type, the same P index and receiving the same fertiliser treatments can be treated as one cropping regime, meaning that this ground can be treated as one block opposed to completing plans for individual fields which have the same crop and nutrient status. Crop type simply include the crop being grown, for example grazing, silage or spring barley. Results of the soil phosphorus test. Soil sampling should be carried out every 4 years to monitor pH and soil indexes. Include the results from your latest soil analysis. Crop phosphorus requirement as recommended by the NAP regulations and the latest edition of the AHDB Nutrient Management Guide RB209. The planned application of organic manures and chemical phosphorus fertiliser. The quantity and type of each must be included in the plan. And finally, the total phosphorus to be applied. This should be checked to ensure that the crop recommendation of phosphorus application has not been exceeded. This is the minimum that must be included in a fertilisation plan for a non-derogated farm. A fertilisation plan can be paper-based or electronic, either on a spreadsheet or using a farm software package. Completion of a fertilisation plan giving consideration to nitrogen, phosphate and other nutrients such as potash and sulphur is strongly advised, and we recommend that you use the CAFRE Crop Nutrient Calculator to prepare your fertilisation plan. By using the Crop Nutrient Calculator, you will be able to determine the nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium required by crops, calculate the amount of nutrients supplied by organic manures. It also allows you to select appropriate application rates for manures and fertilisers to be applied. Most importantly, it enables you to determine the correct type and application rate of manure or fertiliser to ensure that you do not exceed the crop requirement or breach NAP regulations. To use the CAFRE Crop Nutrient Calculator, you simply enter soil analysis results, crop details and intended fertiliser usage. It will produce a report which satisfies all the requirements for a fertilisation plan and can be updated as required. You can then present your plan either electronically or in a paper format. In this video, we are going to make a fertilisation plan example for a silage field. After logging on to DARA online services and selecting CAFRE Nutrient Calculators, you should then select the Crop Nutrient Calculator and this page will appear. The CAFRE online calculators have useful tools to make it easier for you to input data. At the top of every page, there is a conversion calculator button. When you click on this, a pop-up box will open, and this allows for the quick and easy conversion of figures, such as gallons per acre into metres cubed per hectare, or 50 kilogram bags per acre into kilograms per hectare. This is a particularly useful tool for the quick and accurate conversion of figures. In addition to the conversion calculator, there is also a help manual button at the top of each page. Similarly, it opens a pop-up box and you can select any of the areas on the left-hand side in blue. This will direct you to a help page for the relevant section of the calculator and assist you with any difficulties in using the system. To begin entering information into the calculator, click on Add New Field Plan. When you're entering new information, this screen will appear and you will have four options. Firstly, select Field and Soil Details to begin entering your information. Here you will enter the farm survey number, field number or field nickname, field size in hectares and soil type. You must also enter the month and year of your most recent soil analysis. From your analysis, enter the soil P index, which for this example is 2-, and K index, which is also 2-. Finally, add the soil pH, which for this example is 6, and then select Save and Return. When the field and soil details have been entered correctly, you will now be able to select the cropping option. Firstly, you select from the drop-down box what your next crop will be. The crops are organised under subheadings to make finding and selecting your desired option as easy as possible. I am selecting 64 to 67D silage. You must now enter the number of silage cuts and whether you will be applying fertiliser for the aftermath grazing. In this example, I am selecting 2 cuts and I will be applying fertiliser to the aftermath, so I select Yes. This page will change to become relevant for whichever crop you have previously selected. For example, if you selected potatoes, it will ask you for the growing season, or for cereals such as winter wheat, you will answer whether the straw is to be ploughed in or removed. Moving on with the silage example, you must input the date of your last cut. For this example, it will be the 1st of July, and your grazing livestock type, either intensive dairy or beef and sheep. I have selected intensive dairy. You will now select the previous grass crop details from the list. Previous cropping details together with soil type information, which was entered under soil and field details, are used to determine the soil nitrogen supply. Here you have 5 options. Long-term grass receiving high inputs of nitrogen, over 250 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare per year. Long-term grass receiving moderate nitrogen of 100 to 250 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare per year. And long-term grass receiving low levels of nitrogen, up to 100 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare per year. There are 2 further options for grass following arable crops such as potatoes, oilseed rape, peas or beans, and grass following cereal crops. This example is of moderate input long-term grass receiving moderate inputs of nitrogen of 100 to 250 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare per year. This moderate input system would translate to approximately 1 application of slurry at 2,500 gallons per acre and 4 bags of 24-6-12 per year if applying slurry and chemical nitrogen fertiliser. Finally, you will enter your plans for manure and fertiliser applications. If you intend to apply slurry, farmyard manure or other organic manures, then select organic manure. Focusing on silage cut 1, you will see on the top line of the table the total crop recommendation for your first cut. This is based on the soil indexes previously entered and the appropriate recommendation from the Nutrients Action Programme for Northern Ireland and the AHDB Nutrient Management Guide RB209. The CAFRE Crop Nutrient Calculator makes this step very simple and easy, as all of the recommendations are provided for you. This type of table is repeated to show the total crop recommendation and nutrient supply through organic manure and chemical fertiliser for second cut silage and aftermath grazing. You will then enter the information for the planned application of organic manures for first cut silage followed by second cut and aftermath grazing. Beginning with silage cut 1, the drop-down box contains many examples of slurry and farmyard manure. For this example, I have selected 6% dry matter dairy cow slurry and will be applying this at a rate of 27.5 metres cubed per hectare, which is approximately 2,500 gallons per acre, using a trailing shoe or band spreader in the spring. If you would like to make any changes to this entry, select the Edit button, or if you wish to remove it, select Delete. If you want to spread any other type of organic manure which is not included in the drop-down box, you can enter it here. You must include the nutrient details and the volume applied. For second cut, I will apply 6% dry matter dairy cow slurry at 20 metres cubed per hectare using a trailing shoe or band spreader in the summer. Remember to select Add Manure to save your entry. The CAFRE Crop Nutrient Calculator determines the nutrient availability of slurry according to the type, for example 4% dry matter pig slurry, method of application such as dribble bar, trailing shoe or injection, and the time of year it's applied, spring, summer or autumn. Each of these variables, slurry type, method and time of application, affect the availability of nutrients. The Crop Nutrient Calculator makes the task of determining the nutrient availability of organic manures much more simple and efficient. I will not be applying any more organic manure for aftermath grazing, as it could result in an oversupply of phosphate and potash. Click Return to Manure and Fertiliser menu to save your progress. If you want to apply chemical fertiliser, now select the Fertilisers button. When selecting a fertiliser, there is a sorted list in a drop-down box. And if you're applying a fertiliser which is not included in this list, you can enter it below, making sure to include information about the quantity applied and its nutrient composition. For this example of silage first cut, I am going to apply 2744 plus 10% sulphur at a rate of 375 kilograms per hectare, which is approximately 3 bags per acre. Then for second cut, I'm going to apply a 0P fertiliser, 25013 plus 7% sulphur, at 350 kilograms per hectare, which is just over 2.5 bags per acre. Remember to click Add Fertiliser to save this entry. Finally, for aftermath grazing, I will apply 2700 at 200 kilograms per hectare. This is just under 2 bags per acre, as the only nutrient which is largely undersupplied at this stage is nitrogen. I do not want to oversupply nutrients, particularly at this time of year, where there is an increased chance of surface runoff and nutrients leaching into waterways. Click on the Return to Manure and Fertiliser menu button to save your progress. You can scroll down at this point to review the information you have entered and decide whether you want to make any changes. The nutrient requirement table has changed the writing to red where a nutrient has been oversupplied. If you're happy with everything that has been entered, then scroll to the bottom of the page and click on the Return to Field Plan Options button. You can now select to download Field Plan. This will download a report containing all of the information that you have entered into the calculator. The report can be saved in a PDF form and can either be printed or stored electronically for inspection. Alternatively, you can select to Return to Fields list. Here you can select Download all field plans. This will download a report containing the information on all of the fields or cropping areas that you have entered into the calculator. The beginning of the report includes general information such as the farmer's name and address. It goes on to detail the farm survey number, field details, nutrient indexes, pH and cropping details. As you scroll down through the report, it shows information surrounding the nutrient requirement and subsequent organic manure and fertiliser applications for the first and second silage cuts, and finally for aftermath grazing. This ensures that each individual field or cropping area will have a tailored approach of nutrient applications, making the process more economically and environmentally viable. In summary, a fertilisation plan is a requirement for those farms applying chemical phosphate fertiliser to grassland, or high phosphorus manures such as poultry manures or anaerobic digestate to any land. It contains details of proposed fertiliser applications for the coming calendar year. It must be prepared for each calendar year and updated where there are any changes to the proposed plans. A fertilisation plan does not have to be submitted to NIEA, but should be available on farm for inspection. It will allow for more efficient planning on the use of organic manures, thereby having the potential to reduce the quantity of chemical fertiliser applied where they are not needed, ultimately saving money for the business. This will also have a positive impact on water quality and the environment due to reduced loss of nutrients to our waterways. The Crop Nutrient Calculator, which is available at online services on the DARA website, is an essential tool when producing a fertilisation plan. It is easy to use and, most importantly, provides all of the information needed to enable you to comply with the requirements to produce a fertilisation plan for a non-derogated farm under the NAP regulations.